yourself there in the purple top, third row from the front. Thanks.
How big is it a risk of Steven Gerrard going to Rangers, considering he wants to eventually manage Liverpool?
That's an interesting one. All right, okay, Eamon, I've asked you this before.
Yeah.
You think it's a good move for Steven Gerrard at Rangers, that he has an opportunity to try to turn the club around, but there's an awful lot of scepticism about him going into a club with financial problems, with an average bunch of players, and with the gulf in class between Celtic and Rangers so big that it'll be very hard for him to try and bridge that gulf.
Well, first of all, I admire Steven Gerrard and Frank Lampard, who's gone to Derby County, for taking jobs in the game, are sitting in television studios like Rio Ferdinand and pontificating Thierry Henry, $4 million a year. $4 million a year. These two guys, Gerrard and Lampard, they want to actually try to be winners as coaches. And I think going to Rangers, it's still a very big club. It's a big brand. And big brands attract money. If they can attract investors and he can do his stuff, well then, and they can begin to have a real rivalry with Celtic, it'll revive Scottish football. But I do admire him for taking the risk, because it does come with risks attached. And there is the sectarian nature of the club, which is maybe something else that hopefully those days are gone. But anyway, I do admire Steven Gerrard for doing it, and his view will be particularly interesting, and Liam's and John's, but I admired him. I admire him, and, you know, I wish more top players would go into the game as managers, because when you look through the Premier League and even the Championship, there's very few English managers. There's only John's pal, Big Sam. That's it. And Crystal Palace, the former England manager.
Roy Hodgson.
Roy who?
Yeah, so I suppose the point is here, you know, and Eamon's point about the brand stands and the ability to attract support every year, and Ibrox is a huge ground, and they're very loyal Rangers supporters. But, Didi, I mean, it's a massive job on your first job. Like, Frank Lampard has gone to Derby, where there might be a certain level of expectation, but he can kind of come in and learn his trade under the radar a little bit. Sure. What do you think?
Well, I think in a way, I think Stevie will be more under the radar than Frank Lampard, because everybody will expect Derby to get in the playoffs. In Scotland, that the Premier League or the Champions League has. When I first heard about it, my first impression was he must be mad. The more I think about it, the more I like it, because when you said financial instability, he wouldn't have gone there if he hasn't got money to spend. So I'm pretty sure he's got funds to spend, and he's got, you know, targets in mind who he wants to bring to the football club. Yes, you have to finish second to be okay or not to disappoint. But they've been, in the last few years, how long are they back in the top division now? 1 or 2 years?
3 years.
3 years?
3 years. Yeah.
You know, they've been, 20, 30 points behind them. So if you even bridge the gap to 10, 15 points, it's a success. And he can work in, you know, in peace in a way, which you wouldn't have in England. And the other thing is, when Eamon says, he admires him for going there, you know, where would he have started? You know, you say... You know,
well, just because the expectation
did Didi say he can work in peace up there?
That's
you mad? Are you mad?
Those guys. You know, if he doesn't, the first derby of the season, Didi, like they go out against Celtic, he got beaten 4-0. I mean,
but what I found, because I played with him for 7 years, I never had him down as a manager.
Okay.
Because he was a very shy and quiet character. He said the old thing in the dressing room, but he did his talking on the pitch, which for me always more important, because usually the loudest ones in the tunnel are the most quiet ones outside, and you don't see them. But I never really had him down, and you have a guy like Jamie Carragher who thought about the game 24/7. I don't think Stevie thought an awful lot about the game, and I think in games, I don't think he was the best reader of the games. He did a lot with his talent and with his instinct. You know, he had that intuition to know where to be, what to do, and he had so much ability that he could change for years, managing the under 18s or 19s what he did at Liverpool. You know, he spoke like a coach or a manager. He really, you know, he didn't do it because he felt he had to do it. He wanted to do it, and I think it's a big difference, because a lot of them go into it thinking, I don't want to be sitting at home, you know, getting bored by the missus or missus kicking me up the head. I've got to do something, I've got to get out of the house. And he really bought into coaching, he bought into managing, he bought into bringing players along. And the more I spoke to him, the more he told me about it, the more I thought, you know what, I think he's got half a chance. And I don't think it's a bad first job, because he will have a huge following, he'll have funds to spend, and in a way he hasn't got an awful lot to lose, because everybody expects Celtic to win the league again by 25 points.
Yeah.
But if he brings players in, as he probably told them, and if he can inspire them and get something, it was the years before.